we were cleaning out this garage, and my dad told me to go clean it out. And he took the broom after I thought I was done, and he stood with me at the broom. Matter of fact, I need to write something about that because it's a powerful message. And he held the broom in his hand, and he looked around, and he said, "Are you done?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm going to tell you this one time.
Hello, family. Welcome back to another episode of Jarvis Hill Projected. Now, if you're new following this show, this channel, let me tell you what it's about. It's about sharing information. If you're thinking about starting a business, you're already in business, I'm bringing professionals, experts in their field to share content, share information, share their experience with you. Why? To help you grow further, not just, starting a business, but if you're working a 9-to-5, what success looks like in that space. Well, buckle up. I have a good show for you today. I have Miss Kertrina Dauway joining me today. So, good morning, Miss Kertrina. How are you today?
Good morning. I am well, and you?
I am blessed. Listen, let me set the stage. I always like to make sure that I bring you on proper, right? So let me get it right. Miss Kertrina is an award-winning corporate business development consultant. She's a motivational speaker and a wonderful sales coach. She's worked with CEOs, presidents, employees from all levels in the corporate world. She has over 20 years helping people excel in the sales industry. Man, are you guys in a treat today? So listen, we always have this conversation where we talk about, let's get down to business, Miss Kertrina. Mm-hmm. So before we get started, you guys know, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button because we're going to continue to have good conversations like this. So Miss Kertrina, give us your background, give us like your origin story, where you from and kind of like where you are today before we kind of jump into the conversation.
Well, I am, of course, native Mississippian, but I was raised in Dallas, period. I took classical piano here, had the, real structured, straight-laced life. I was very fortunate to be able to have parents that, provided us with that. And then I went on from classical singing to performing in college, while I attended college. So from there, after I realized, I really want to do some other things, venture into some other things, life brought its trials and life brought its triumphs. And so I'm looking forward to sharing those things with you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, listen, we talk about sales, mm-hmm. right? That can kind of go a lot of different ways. A lot of people don't like sales or some people love sales. But I think everybody's in the business of selling in one form or not. So how did you get started in sales? What made you want to get into sales?
Well, I love people, and that was one of my reasons for going into it. Going in corporate America with no background whatsoever in sales, I really had a meeting of the mind. You really have to, make certain decisions in your mind, of what it is you want to do first. But then I knew that I wanted to be somewhere where I could enjoy what I did. And I loved people. I loved talking to people. I was always the favorite niece out of all my cousins, because I just love reaching out to people as a child. So that was it. I really knew that I wanted to be in an environment where I could talk to people, and uh, how would I be able to reach these people? Well, I started looking. How I really got going is I started looking in the newspaper. I was like, oh, I can go into sales. What kind of sales,
Okay.
because in the sales, everyone had to have a degree. And at that time, did not have um, the BA, bachelor's degree. I had my associate's, but you had to have a bachelor's. But I've always been very daring. So my industry said, you can't tell me that I can't have it, that I can't apply for this job. So I would apply for the job, and yeah, and I got the job. So um,
So what I'm hearing, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, I think that, you really do have to, when you're going into sales, you have to have some type of self-belief. There are a lot of different character traits that you need to have, because that you have emulates over to your client or your customer. This is when we talk about client relations, etc., and that's a whole nother meat and potatoes. But it definitely does have to start with some type of self-belief, self-awareness, self-confidence. Go
Now
ahead,
you
because I'll
said,
keep going.
Katrina, you said that, Katrina, you said you had no experience, right? And then when you had no
No,
degree, no degree, right?
no.
So how did you go from no experience, no degree, and have successful run in the sales industry, right?
Uh-huh. Um,
How did you do that?
well, the thing about it is, again, we talk about the fact that I had really, really good parents, and they instilled a lot of strengths and etiquette in us as a child. Even though I was shy growing up, the things that my parents taught me. Both parents had master's degrees, one in finance, one in education, and it wasn't that they just got these degrees. They instilled in us a very, very strong work ethic. When everyone was outside playing, we would be inside working, and the only way we could go outside was if everything in the house was perfect. And we lived in a very large house. So everything needed to be perfect. An example of that is when my father, we were cleaning out this garage, and my dad told me to go clean it out. And he took the broom after I thought I was done, and he stood with me at the broom. Matter of fact, I need to write something about that because it's a powerful message. And he held the broom in his hand, and he looked around, and he said, "Are you done?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm going to tell you this one time." And one time, and it was always after that, anything I did, he would say to me, "I'm going to say this to you one time."
Mm.
So so from that point on, I learned to get anything that I did right the first time, so that I didn't have to deal with my daddy. That it was just, he was training my mind, because I didn't want to have to deal with my daddy for any other second, third, or fourth time. This is like a trembling. I'm going to tell you this one time. And so those things carried on and would eventually come out in me, um, in the corporate setting. And so, in getting a job, how did I get a job? Well, I truly had it in my mind by the time I started, you know, interviewing. I really had it in my mind based on how I was raised. We're all alike. Everybody's, so I can go into this interview with people I've never talked to before, who said I had to get a bachelor's degree. I can go in them and show them and prove to them that I'm worthy of this job. I only have an associate's degree, but I know I can get them what they want. And I went into the interview, and I showed them, I proved to them through my self belief, through articulation, through um, just knowing that I was the right person for the job. And so
So
that,
let's
that there's where it all began.
let's go
where it truly
back,
begins.
because I always like
Mhm.
to slow down the show when what I call it, people start to drop diamonds and drop gems, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You said a powerful thing when your parents laid the foundation
They
for you,
did.
right? They instilled that belief into you, right? You didn't know it at the time, but it filtered out. It came out in different ways as you got older and you start to develop. And even though you still have to
Yeah.
do, live your own way and develop your own mindset, but that foundation was laid. Now, it's a quote that your dad
I-
said to you, and I want to make sure that we bring that quote out because I want you to talk about it. Uh, your dad said, if you're going to mop the floor, be the best mop floor. Now, how does that work when you
There
talk
was
to
a lot of
someone who,
nuggets that he gave me. Huh?
yeah, so, but how does that transfer to someone who's in an entry level position or to someone who's the CEO of the organization? How does that quote transfer to that person?
So, because I was raised in a very well educated environment. If you didn't have a bachelor's, you had a master. If you didn't have a master, you had a doctorate. That's the type of upbringing, the African American community that I was raised in. And he ensured that all five of his kids were raised in, mom, was an excellent and, exceptional mom. And so, these type of it was just so um laid out that this was going to be my path.
Mm,
And this flower child was like, but no, there's something else out there that I wanted to go explore, because I'd had such a very very extremely structured life. Because I don't know if you know, if a person is in accounting, A plus A better equal A plus.
that's right.
So
That's
my
right.
dad has a degree in math and account manager for the Federal Reserve Bank for years, and so everything had to be precise. So I was expected to do that. And when I chose to go a different path, and he saw me choosing to go a different path, he walked in the room quietly to me. I'll never forget it. And he said, if you're going to mop the floor, be the best floor mopper out there. And I forgot it. I always put that in front of me, in just in my thinking, so that when I got the job that I was not qualified for,
Mm,
I said, how am I going to be the best floor mopper out there? And so I put a plan together, along with the training. I knew that the training that they gave me on their particular product could only take me so far. So I took the necessary extra steps to prove myself to them. And a lot of sales training, they did provide that. And I embraced the training. So, what does an entry level person need to do? I'm not saying that you need to because I'm an overachiever. I was an overachiever. Be the blessed floor mopper doesn't mean that you exceed when you're going to be the best floor mopper. So I exceeded expectations,
mm,
because of that word, that sentence. If you're going to mop the floor, be the best floor mopper. So I worked extra when everyone was sleeping, or whenever people got home from work. I was still working, and along the way, I was able to learn and add extra nuggets to, what I was currently doing. So for an entry level, you take the extra step to um, learn how to represent your product, but in developing your sales character and strategy. Take those extra steps, because when you are there, you have to really hone in on developing and enhancing and expanding and increasing your self belief. So, and you have to take those necessary steps or you're going to stay right where you are.
You said something so powerful, Ms. Kertrina. You said extra steps exceed expectations, right?
Mhm.
Because we all have a role, but then when you go beyond that, who's telling you to go beyond that? And I think that's where salespeople excel because they're not told, "Hey, I want you to go from A to B," but then when you go to C to D without being told, that's powerful because you're taking control and doing what's outside the norm, outside the
Yeah.
box. And then when you said when people are sleeping, what are you doing? You're working,
Yeah.
you're growing, you're developing. I think that's really powerful. So let's switch gears because you talked about, your dad, was a CPA. You had things lined up, but then you kind of went your own path.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a book that you recently written, right?
Uh-huh.
I want to highlight this book because again, we want to make sure that we help people. And this book, I know it's going to help change the direction of some people's lives and help them be more successful. So you wrote a book titled "How to Be a True Sales Professional."
Yeah.
Let's
And
not let's not give them everything about the book. I want them to go and order it, but just kind of give us a little bit,
okay.
a little taste, a little flavor of that book.
In dealing with client relations in corporate America, I also dealt with peer relationships in corporate America. And somehow that meets in the middle.
Mm,
And so what I did was I put both mindsets inside the book. And so it does help from a the sales professional or prospective sales professional. It helps them hone in on the proper way to have self-belief. It's deep.
okay, okay.
Uh-huh.
So where can they order this book from? Because I want to make sure, like, I got to go out order me a copy. Where can they get this book?
Amazon.com. Go straight to
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. Uh-huh.
So let me. I'm gonna put the link in here as well. But it's how to be a true sales professional.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was really excited about it. I started off with the book one way
Uh
and
huh.
ended up with it another way. And it's not a long drawn out book because I know sales professionals, we're more AZ, we gonna get the BCD, but we're gonna turn the BCD into very, quick points. But I made it where we could grasp everything that we needed within that book. So I'm really excited for the readers to really hone in. I have been planning on doing a workbook along with it eventually, but it is an amazing book that people really need to hone in on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the workbook will be actually dope because you go from the reading the material, but also helping create the steps and laying the foundation, just like
Yeah.
your parents did with you, right? Laying that
Yeah.
foundation with that workbook. I think
Yeah.
it'll be a great ad. I'm
Yeah.
a
So
commission.
it's
I'm gonna go ahead and commission you to go ahead and get that workbook completed, Miss Katrina.
okay. I will. I'm get, I'm, as a classically trained pianist, we can do like multiple things at one time. So I can do a whole lot of stuff, but right now I'm doing a whole lot of stuff, with my You Can Live Again Expo yeah, You Can Live Again Expo
So
coming up.
you did, yeah. Let's talk about that. So you started You Can Live Again brand. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
That is my, like, one of my top babies because we talk about the self-belief. I did go through low self-esteem. I did go through depression. I did go through suicidal thoughts. I did that as a child because my childhood, even though we had an excellent upbringing in material things, my childhood was not perfect. So I really had to, and I realized as I got older, people do treat you the way you treat yourself.
Mm,
And I had to,
all right.
I was in such a victim state. People could hone in on that, and I saw that people really, there were people that really didn't want to help that side of me. Even in the spiritual community, it was as, you know if I talked about my hurt or pain, it was, I would get pretty much, you know either pushed away or suppressed. And I had a lot of gifts. So when you have a lot of these gifts and then people see that, I had people that didn't want that side of me to continue to develop. And I was helping a lot of people with their purposes. I was helping a lot of people, in corporate America, in the church, and when I realized, oh, okay, all right. Okay, don't nobody want to help me. I'm gonna go and help myself. That inner strength came out, and I began to empower myself again. And I know that it came a lot. I talk about my inner strength with my parents, but that corporate development and continuing to, achieve, be an overachiever, and what I learned along the way helped also continue to lay the foundation, for me truly believing in myself. So the time that I realized, hey, I got to be about my business,
That's right.
because I can't nobody do it like me, and I know that that was a God sin, the God experience. And so I began to believe in myself more. And later on I said, there are people out there that need that encouragement that I didn't get.
That's right.
And I want them to know that they can live again. And here are examples of people who chose to live again, people who are thriving. I'm not the only one that had to depend on myself to pull myself up mentally, emotionally, to pull myself up spiritually. And the Bible says we go from strength to strength. That is true. So the next level, I had to, do the same things and
That's right.
implement more, but I wanted to show a platform to people that were striving to get to the next level, and they don't have the type of push or support that this You Can Live Again brand would help them, especially during COVID. With
That's
COVID
right.
happening and all of that, hey, push through. You can live again. Get through this. You can live again. Get to the next step. Hey, you got this. Come on, go, 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 go. So that really was my opportunity to really push people to thrive.
You have a website for that?
Yes, youcanliveagain.net.
YouCanLiveAgain.net. Kertrina,
Youcanliveagain.net. One person said you can't live again.net. I said, does that make sense to you? They busted out laughing. They said you can't.
listen, when I come to this table and I have the opportunity to, have these conversations, I have my pencil
Oh
and
wow.
paper. You said something. People treat you the way you treat yourself. And I want to make sure that we highlight that, because a lot of times we have these self-talks with ourselves, we doubt on ourselves, and we're talking bad about ourselves. And people pick up on that energy and they treat you the way you treat yourself.
Yeah.
So my question is, how are you talking to yourself? You know what I mean? Like each person, how are you talking to yourself? Or are you breathing life into yourself? Or are you saying like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know where the information is. Go ahead, Kertrina.
I think that it's a combination of things, because I lived such a structured life. I rebelled against that structured life, and it caused me to have some really weird, not so good habits. I developed some really bad habits. So I think it also requires a meeting of the mind, also, of what are you doing that is causing you to have this victimization, this victim mindset. What are you doing? It does require reality check as to what you're doing to harm yourself. Are
That's
you
right.
self-harming intentionally, unintentionally? What are you doing? So it causes you to come face to face with yourself. You have to do that. In order to get to the next level, how you get out of victim is you come face to face with you.
Oof. Listen, let my people know, where can they follow you, Miss Kertrina?
I am. They can follow me on Facebook up under my name. Either one, because I'm a professional singer, MC of the House of Blues Gospel Brunch. So you can find me at Kertrina Dauway. I've started putting a lot of nuggets on there, especially on Monday nights now, because I used to do it like 3 or 4 times a week, but with this new project now, I try to make sure that I balance my time because I'm the one, because I'm an overachiever, I have to really calm it down because of
That's right.
that. If you're going to mop the floor, be the best floor mopper out there.
Okay.
That mind, that thing is drilled in my head, so I have to really be careful now. But they can find me at my namesake, Kertrina Dauway, or they can find me at Singer Lady Diamond. I'm always doing stuff on both of those now. I'm starting to build up the Kertrina Dauway because a lot of people know me publicly as Singer Lady Diamond. So I make sure that I post things there, but I am starting to build up my namesake, Kertrina Dauway, as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Listen, family, go out and follow Miss Kertrina Dauway. Get the information. She's sharing nuggets on Mondays. You don't want to miss out. It's the information is there.
Yeah.
One last question for you. What advice would you give your 15-year-old self today?
That's a really good question. What advice would I give my 15-year-old today? Believe now, not later. Believe in what no one else sees.
Mm, wonderful. Well, Miss Kertrina, thank you so much. Listen,
Absolutely.
I know we helped some people today. We're going to have you back, talk more about sales and development, confidence. But again, make sure you guys go out, follow Miss Kertrina Dauway. And again, family, be sure to hit that like and subscribe because we're going to have more people on, more professionals, more experts. You're not going to want to miss out. Kertrina, thank you so much. You have a blessed day.
Thank you as well.